Lead Generation 36123, Session 3, Marketing with Productivity Coach Matt Dusold.
Perfect. So we're talking marketing today. Is anybody like a marketing nerd in here? Does anybody really like marketing? Nobody? Oh man. Okay, good. You do love it?
I don't know how to do it.
Cool.
Like what I know.
Awesome. So I am kind of a marketing nerd, so I really like to really dive into this stuff, and I'm gonna try and kind of quote unquote stay in my lane because I don't want to breach into what other classes we're gonna be doing here in the next couple weeks. So I have to kind of restrain myself. Just so you guys know, next Friday, with it being the holiday weekend, we're not gonna do a class. So we'll be back Monday, and we're gonna do database and working with Mets together, because to me, if you meet someone, they should be in your database anyway, so it's kind of the same thing. And then we're going to do Farming Wednesday, and then we're not going to do anything on that Friday, and we're not going to do anything on Monday because it's the holiday. So then we'll jump back into open houses on the next Wednesday. Does that make sense? So we'll have Monday and Wednesday, and then we won't be here till next Wednesday again. So, cool. So, first off, I guess, did anybody prospect? Who committed to prospecting? Nobody. You guys are all looking away from me. Who did?
I was busy meeting with my clients.
I'm meeting with clients isn't bad.
I got in that.
Nobody was prospecting?
I have another lead.
You got
Trying to
some
recruit
lead?
people for the gym we joined.
Okay.
Yeah, like going in the
That's good.
I really am.
I like that. All right. All right. So who's going to commit to prospecting before we see each other next time?
Oh, yeah.
People doing open houses this weekend or something? Good. Open houses, door knocking. Are you getting door knock with it? You're like, I don't know. It might be 105 out. Depends. Depends what temperature it is. I don't blame you. Cool. So some of you guys are doing marketing now. You said, what are you guys doing for marketing?
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. I like that. What else? Anybody else? You just say scary? I was talking to somebody earlier, and they're like, I will never do Facebook Live. I don't know if you're in here. I'm not calling you out. But they're like, I just won't do it. I'm like, I get it. It's fine.
I would do it. I just do it once. You know.
And get over it. Yeah.
Do it once. Good.
I think, so social media is going to be something we talk about, but social media is kind of giving you your reality show. You guys have your own $1 million listening TV shows now. That's really what it's come down to, right? With the stories and Facebook Lives and all that. So I think it gives you a really good marketing platform. Obviously there's direct mail, email, websites, signs, open house. That's marketing, right? Put out 10 signs. That's marketing. Some people are doing billboards and all of those things. Is marketing expensive? Most of it, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Most of it's expensive. That's why obviously we talk about prospecting, we talk about marketing and making it work together. It just gets expensive. If you guys are looking at the PDF, there's actually this pretty cool marketing thing I like here. It's on number 11, page 11, and it's something that they did up in the Denver office, and it's about their hiking trails. Did anybody see that? I think that's a really cool piece. I would see if, I don't know, I don't want to give Casey a job already, but if somebody could jump in and do that for Arizona, I think that's a really cool piece to kind of use for marketing to really anybody, right? So it could be your Mets database, anything like that. So just like prospecting, marketing's a numbers game, right? Does anybody know what a good return on marketing is? So if you're doing a good marketing plan, what's the good rate of return for percentage-wise if people are going to respond to you? 10, 2, 3 to 5, yeah, 3 to 5. If you're doing 3 to 5, you're doing good. 2 is kind of realistic, but 3 to 5, if you're in 3 to 5%, that's where you want to be. So obviously you start looking at costs of mailers and costs of whatever, and you're seeing a 3 to 5% return, you got to be willing to spend. Luckily, Facebook and other things on Facebook have made that a little cheaper. Facebook advertising right now is changing, though. And the only reason that is happening is obviously because of all the security issues they've just been having. It's a little harder to target right now, and costs are going up a little bit more, but it's still by far the cheapest method to market. So if you're going to do marketing, it's a good place to start. Telephone, so we're talking 3 to 5%, right, on marketing response rate. Does anybody know what telephone gets? So telephone calls and texts, it's usually upwards of 10% and over. So usually anywhere from 10 to 15%. So as much as none of you got on the telephone, that's still our best method. I'm sorry to say it. But that's exactly why you have to do both, right? So if we're going to push marketing, we got to follow up with the calls. Because if you're going to get 3 to 5% here, your calls are actually going to go from 12% somewhere up in the 20% range if you're following up on your marketing with phone calls. It might not be the first phone call. It's usually not the second one or the third one. It's oftentimes the fourth call or the call that's 2 weeks later. So it's very, very, very important to follow up with our phone calls afterwards. So one thing that I want to work on is, this is where everybody really starts with marketing, and it's your brand, right? I don't know, you guys should have your first page. I don't know what page number that is. There you go. I would complete this page, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to complete this. Can you get out of your lane? And I like to talk about selling in your lane, right? So typically when I say selling in your lane, you usually sell where you're comfortable, right? So I've done $900 rentals, and I've sold up to $3.1 million for a single home. So I've got a big range, right? But my lane was always kind of that like 350 to 700,000 mark. Those were just, I just did a lot of them. And so I don't know, maybe that's where I'm comfortable. Some people are comfortable in the ultra luxury market. Some people, you'll see a lot of people do like 250 and under. You kind of find your lane and you stay in it. So if you look at this and you kind of figure out your brand, I just like staying in your lane, staying true to who you are, and that's kind of where your lane will develop. So I'll give you a couple minutes just to look through that, complete that. Ooh, the highlighter on top of. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Why is it so quiet?
Shh, it's a library. It's a library.
Sorry.
Taking a test.
I was going to say.
And your phone.
No.
You're kicked out.
So did my
You're
other
out.
appraisal just now. So.
Oh, jeez. That's another class. Cool. Are we good there? Pretty good? So what this kind of creates is helps us realize what our brand really is going to be, right? You guys kind of figure out what's going to be your strong suit and where you can go with it. The more you're in real estate, and some of you that's been in real estate for a while, you're going to kind of realize like certain people do certain things. Those Callaways, open houses have been their thing. That's how they built their business. Seabach does tons of website stuff. Del Rounds and Darren Tackett, they drop off packages all the time. Lisa Lucky has her magazine. So you're going to start seeing trends. Does anybody else know any trends out there? Have you noticed anything from other agents? Launch. Yeah, their thing. Jaffe does, he does billboards in Arcadia. I know it's not his only thing, but you'll see billboards of like bus signs. I don't know. I guess it must be effective if he's doing it. I have no idea what the costs of them are. Well, and that's part of it, right? So you got to be in front of people. So I don't know. Someone like him, I don't know why he would spend the money if it didn't work. So I feel like it worked. I have no idea. But yeah. So what this does is it's going to kind of refine what we did in the beginning of we've made the videos about our USP and about you guys and about being you. This is what we can kind of add on to our video in version 2, right? Is taking some of this and how do we direct it more towards real estate and how do we come up with a brand and stay consistent. So you want to stay consistent in your message, whether it's the video, whether it's your print marketing, whether it's your email marketing, whether it's anything. And so hopefully this provides a little bit of clarity. I'll tell you one thing that I thought was really dumb, and then the more I thought about it, I thought it was awesome. Does anybody in here have a dog or a pet in general? Does anybody have a dog or a cat? All right, so there's this guy in Chicago, drove me nuts, and his brand was finding a home for you and your pets. And I was like, guy's an idiot. And all of a sudden, the more I thought about it, I'm like, I just bought a house because it has a big yard because of my dog. And so you start talking to other people, and they want what's good for their dog. They're like, forget my kid. I just want what's good for my dog.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
We're working with someone right now that just wants a pool for her dog.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I don't want like 15 of you coming out with the, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So don't all do it, but like really, that's a brand thing. And he grew his brand like crazy behind this because everybody that has a dog wants to work with him just because it's fun. I mean, it's quirky, it's weird, but figure out what your brand is, right? Like I know some people work with high-end athletes. That's all they do. I know some people brand themselves behind pets. Find out what that is that works for you. And again, I just like staying in your lane. So it's not like your brand can't change, but once you guys figure out what you want to brand yourself around, stick with it. Because even though it might not sound perfect, the more and more you're using it and the more consistent you are with it, the more it becomes you. And it's probably going to work in the end. You guys just need something that people will get behind, right? So where am I at here? Page 27. I don't think I have a printout for you, but we start talking about kind of being your local areas and your experts. So if anybody knows, we know what I would brand behind, right? Videos and local area expertise. One thing I absolutely love, and we kind of talked about Facebook already, I'm a big fan, I don't want to get too deep in this because it's farming, but being a digital mayor and being that internet mayor of your town. So become internet famous of your area. I think that's a huge presence. I know agents in other cities that have started that process, really just marketing themselves and doing little paid advertising over and over in the same area consistently with different messages, whether it be they have buyers, they have listings, they go out to restaurants and they rate restaurants and they get in touch with the owners of those restaurants. All of a sudden they started going out and people were recognizing them. They literally became internet famous just because of Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And so that's something that if you guys are farming an area, could be very valuable to you. Just simply doing small Facebook advertisements. And again, it doesn't have to be something all crazy and thought out. It can be simply just a buyer you have, right? I preach buyer letters. I've talked to a lot of you about that. Doing a video with a buyer, with our inventory being so low at 15,900 and whatever, 64. If you're sitting there and you got Jim and Julie here that want to buy a home, 3-bed, 2-bath home in your area, there's absolutely nothing on the market. If you are thinking about selling or your friends thinking about selling in this area, please let me know. That's powerful, right? Because if they hear from you in another way, you've now become real. Because you're not just throwing that blind mail out there. You're not just door knocking on them. They're seeing you on Facebook and receiving the prospecting of it, right? So we talked prospecting, marketing, same thing right there. Follow those up with phone calls and you're going to get results.
Matt, what does that look like? So are you interviewing them as buyers?
So,
or do they
yeah.
speak on the video?
I love it. So for me personally, when I do a buyer letter, it's I would tell a little bit about your office and where you're at, and if you're on a team, that's cool, or use your stats and leverage whoever's. And I would say Jim and Julie just came from Chicago. They need a 4-bed, 2-bath home. They really want to be in the DC Ranch area because they love the schools. They love that, you know, they're K through 8 up there, and once they get out of there, they can go to Chaparral, but they might be looking into Notre Dame Prep. They just love the area. They love the mountains. They want to be feeling the mountains because there's no mountains in the Midwest. You got to get really detailed when you're talking about these buyer letters because everybody's throwing buyer letters out right now. It's just everybody's doing it. So if you can be very detailed about their kids, about the activities they do, about the things they really want, all of a sudden it becomes that much more real. So if you're out with Jim and Julie and they're in town and they're okay with being on video, I think it's huge. I would take a video. Hey, Matt Duxell, Keller Williams. I'm out here with Jim and Julie. Here's my buyer. Say hi. Yeah, we can't find anything on the market, guys. It's $15,900. It's a 5-year low. Jim, Julie, do you mind telling them what you're looking for? And just have them say, yeah, we really want this. Tell them what. Probably going to be very similar to what the buyer letter was. Put that Facebook ad geographically over the area you mailed. Very cheap. We're talking like probably $3 a day for doing that because the area is not going to be very big, maybe less than that. A video, by the way, videos get really high views. So when you can retarget back, there's a whole nother class. I'm going way too deep. I'm sorry. You can capture a huge audience and retarget them. So it just makes it that much better the more and more you do it. But again, if you're sending the video or sending a mailer out, you've got one piece. Now you're sending the video out with real people. That letter's real. So the chances of them actually getting back in touch with you, it's probably not 3%, right? It's probably much higher than that. Does that answer that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we good? Any questions? No? Nothing?
So you're putting it on Facebook.
Yeah, I would.
Paying to boost it to a certain area.
Correct. Yep. Yep. So in Facebook, you can drop a pin to the area that you want to market. You can do zip codes. You can do whatever. But you can put just an area right around a single house if you want. Open house ads, put it around your open house. And then you can put in there in Facebook how much you're going to pay every single day to have it broadcasted. And there's an equation, right? I think it's like $1 for every 10,000 people. That's why if you're doing a buyer letter, it's not going to be 10,000 people. So putting it right over that, it's probably $1 a day is fine at that point. So, yeah. I want to get into marketing your brand. So marketing your brand, obviously the reason we do that, mostly it's going to be for sellers. But how do we get marketing for buyers? Most powerful thing for marketing for buyers is marketing your listing, right? Marlon actually did a pretty good job. Do you mind telling what you did with your listing just this last week?
I had flyers printed. I had door knocking invitations to the small subdivision. So I went door to door. I circle called that area, and I sent out letters to 150 people of the surrounding community and to promote it. And had favorable results. Facebook too? Facebook, yeah, I did Facebook, 2 Facebook campaigns. Modest results. Probably the way it's set up, probably got 600 views and 200 people looked at it twice. I got 8 leads off of it with nothing from it yet.
So let's just be honest. Most agents, they don't really market their listings, right? Like, let's be real. They don't really do much because it goes into the MLS and then it goes into all the websites already. So when somebody actually markets their listing, Marlon won't tell you he sold it in 4 days with 3 offers, just over listing price. So that's not a bad result, right? But in that, he got a handful of leads from Facebook. You had 30-ish people come through your open house. So who wouldn't do an open house that has 30 people come through? When you have a listing, we need to market it. And you need to market it heavy. So
and the neighbors next to this house did not have a sign, and the next day he had a sign in his yard, house for sale. He called me and said, I hear you got offers. I think he was pumping me for what I had done. Frankly, I'm not sure I did any magic, but I think he wanted to know.
So you think you didn't do magic, but you followed the steps, right? You followed the blueprint. I mean, that's it worked. It did. And so we need to leverage listings. So when you can get a listing, you need to leverage it. You need to leverage it hard. I'm a big fan of what you did. I think it's awesome. You were able to do prospecting around it. You were able to do marketing, and it turned out well for both ends. So you did your seller the job you promised them you would do, and then you're getting residual business off of it, hopefully, right? So one thing that I would always do when marketing a listing is, does anybody use Coming Soon here? You guys use Coming Soon? Yes. You guys use Coming Soon? Not really? Okay. Coming Soon? No. Okay, so you guys can put it in Zillow as Coming Soon. Yes, if you're a Premier agent, which a lot of us should be. If you're not, we'll get that. I think Keller was supposed to do something with being Premier agents. Wasn't there used to be like some agreement or
The
something?
agreement is that they, on our listings, they
Yeah.
won't put any other Premier agent.
Yeah.
So there
Got
won't be
it.
another
Okay.
outside company on our.
Fair enough. So being a Premier agent, you can pay less of a fee if you're not doing the actual marketing in Zillow. But Coming Soon is a way you can put your listing out there onto Zillow, which, let's be real, that's where a lot of buyers are right now. I think they had like something like 24 million people on their website in a month. That's a lot of people. That's more than anybody else is ever going to have on their website, just being real. So if you can get your listing out there, you can get out there 30 days before you list, before they take it down automatically. So what does that do? I would also get your sign in their yard 30 days early, because anybody that's driving by, they're making calls to you saying, hey, what's the deal? What's going on here? If it's in Zillow, you're pre-marketing the property for your seller, so you're doing a good job. You can also test price. On Zillow, you can kind of test the price, right? So it's not going in the MLS. So if you have a difficult seller that's saying, hey, let's push the price, push it on Zillow, where you're not wasting market time. But then you can kind of gauge that, and you can get traffic. And again, it's a listing, so utilize it as much as you can, because you have an off-market listing when we're in a very compressed market right now. So anytime you can utilize that listing to get more eyes, as you being a listing agent, to get more buyers for yourself, do it, right? Any questions on that?
What does it cost to be a Premier agent on Zillow?
Don't know the exact question. It's cheaper. Like, it's not like thousands of dollars a month. Do you know what it is?
Pretty much right now is if you are paying for as a code for the
Yes.
and it could be a small amount, but you have to be in there the code you're purchasing to be a Premier.
And there is a way you can be a Premier agent without it for a fee. I don't know.
I don't know if
What that- Did they take that away? Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So let's get into kind of staying on this like local area expertise. You guys should have something that's on 31, and it talks about events. Does anybody else sponsor events? Do you guys sponsor events here?
Well, like raffles and events and stuff. Yeah, we'll do that at some like 4-wheel drive events and stuff, just
Nice.
to try to get that group of people.
How was it? What's the turnout?
You know, it's fine. We got people that at least recognize us. And,
Yeah, well, that's half the game, right? That's what it is. It's building a brand.
Right.
So you sponsor, so it'll be like a 4-wheel drive
Yeah,
event?
like we're in the like old Broncos, so we have one painted up with the website and Jen's name on it, and then it's more friendly. People look at the truck and they can appreciate the work I did to it, and then it's an instant friendly conversation.
Yeah,
And by the way, we're realtors, you know.
right. No, I love
To
it.
them, they think it's interesting. And
Well, there's
it
many-
creates conversation.
Jeep clubs and 4-wheel drive. I mean, it's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, we can go 4-wheeling and meet people that have a common interest, and all of a sudden you have a relationship with them.
That's exactly it right there. That's the name of the game. So 31, it's probably your next page. I hope it is. Hopefully I'm staying kind of in order here. But it's talking about doing community involvements and things like that. I think like high school football games is a huge thing, right? Like some of our office staff right now is already prancing around in their colors because of their Friday night football game. Like it's what people do on Friday nights. Like popcorn's super cheap, right? So if you show up there and you're sponsoring it with some popcorn, like it's probably worth a couple $100. I don't know what it costs to be at Notre Dame or Chaparral or wherever around here. Something I wouldn't mind looking into are wherever your local high school is, because if you can be out there, the chances of you meeting, let's face it, hundreds of people that night, probably pretty high, right? So have any of you guys ever done any of these things that are on here? I know we talked about some of them last time about possibly joining them. I really like the Jeep thing though. I think that's cool. I think finding,
You just gave me an idea if we did that with the Bronco.
there you go.
There, popcorn.
Yeah. Everybody loves, I don't really love popcorn, but everybody else does, I feel, right?
Kids love the truck. Yeah. So fun.
Well, it's
Kids
like-
love truck and
it's
kids
like
love candy and popcorn and
you go
things
to
like
some of
that.
these shows and there's like the good guys, there's tens of thousands of people that roll through there, and it costs us $65 to park our car on the lawn all weekend.
Right.
You know, and we talk to people. You know, it's not like it's not over the top.
Absolutely. And it's not a one-time event, right? How many do you guys keep going to the same things all the
A
time?
couple times a year, and and generally it's people with few bucks because they got to pay $25 admission. You know?
That's true too. If you guys started meeting some of the same people,
Yeah, absolutely.
probably didn't happen the first time, but after a few times, it's turning out a
and
little
they'll
better,
come
maybe.
back and talk to us, and it's you know, it's at least, and they're taking pictures too. They're taking pictures of the truck with their phone.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. That's exactly. I mean, I love it. That's perfect. I would look into events. I mean, look into your hobbies, right? It's kind of something we already talked about last time, but like, think about what those things are that you guys like to enjoy, whether it's like a gym or a rec league or something. You know, I think that's awesome. I know there's like slosh ball leagues for kickball down in Tempe. Sponsor one, bring some beer or something, right? You'll be the guy. You'll be the guy, for real.
Matt, I've mentioned this before, but for anybody who wasn't running, but when it gets cooler, having a Saturday dog day in the park,
Yes.
Wolf Fest or
Yes.
Wolf Stock or whatever you want to call it, where you take some little swimming pools, put water in because dogs love to jump in there, have toys around, and then have a few dog vendors show up with little booths. The whole neighborhood will come out with their dogs,
Yep.
and it's just a social event.
Yes. I love the dog event. We talked about last time, because we're getting into the season right now, of a pumpkin patch. So if you do a pumpkin patch in your front yard, I would start doing a mailing soon, probably about 6 weeks out. Make another touch 2 to 3 weeks out, buy a bunch of pumpkins because kids love pumpkins. Who does not going to stop for their kid at a pumpkin patch? We had somebody, one of my old teammates, and she got 2 to 3 sales out of it, but she met like 60 new people from it. And she spent like $500, I think, or somewhere around there, $500. So totally worth it, right? It doesn't matter how big the sales were. It was totally worth
Michael
it.
Lewis has a great pumpkin card already.
Does he?
Designed, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. It's fun. That's the thing about marketing. Like, get creative. Do what you like, right? Like, it doesn't have to be boring. That's what's fun about it for me. So, all right, that's that. We're gonna get into mailing here. Does anybody do mailing consistently? I know some of you do mailing to your farm. Does anybody else do mailing consistently? No. So I think mailing is absolutely necessary, and I don't really love blind mailing. And I'm gonna kind of have to hold off to this for the next class. But I think the value of mailing a database is massive. And I think it needs to be done monthly. Not a single person and not a single agent will do it monthly. They'll tell you they all want to, but you don't. It's just too hard. So a quarterly mailing is huge. And I think a quarterly mailing, and you make it around what's going on, right? So the end of the year, we'll do a happy holidays thing, right? Beginning of the year, Valentine's Day, maybe. In the summer, it's easy to do something around the summer. We can all think of a bunch of things. And then in the fall, obviously football season or something else that you like. But when you're doing these mailings, I would get very creative about what you do. So for instance, the summer, we just had the summer, send out beach balls, send out koozies, send out sunglasses, anything that's branded to you. I would then ask those people that received that mailing from you to tag you in Facebook, tag you in Instagram, and incentivize them to do so by giving them a big prize at the end, whether it's something that's, I don't know, $200, $300. So while the mailing might be expensive, a little expensive, and while the item might have a little bit of a value, if you can get out there and you can have 30, 40 people tag you on Facebook, now all of a sudden they're 30 to 40 people, but they're 5, 6, 7, 800 friends, all might see a post about you. You've just leveraged 40 people to market for you for quote unquote free, but really whatever the cost of a mailing is, which you can do for less than $10 a piece. So something I would really think about, and something that is pretty successful right now with the way Facebook and Instagram are working. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I see them a lot more on Instagram. I was trying to think of what I've seen on Facebook. Instagram, they'll do a lot, post to all your friends.
Yeah.
So you see that a lot.
Yeah. So like if it's I don't even know what I would do for a fall one. What would we do for a fall one?
Well, football schedule.
Yeah, you can do football schedule or mini footballs. Mini footballs would be kind of cool too. They're like branded to you.
And then the most creative post with showing you're a fan of your team.
Yeah.
Win something.
But it has to have, the key always has to be that it has to have you tagged in it, and you have to have like the item in it, right? So then your name is being seen twice. You want your name or your brand to be out there several times. Cool. I'm going to probably touch on that more next, so I don't want to dive too into that. But All right. So signs. This is something that we touched on Jaffe. Like, I just don't know how this guy does it. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know if anybody's looked into it. Some people do billboards. I've seen billboards before too. But open house signs. Does anybody think of open house signs as marketing? Yeah, good. So you guys, how many signs do you guys put out for open houses?
I push 12.
12?
Doing it with somebody else, it's usually
20. That's awesome. Does anybody else put out 20 signs?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Even though,
Yeah, we don't want to.
and I've run into the problem.
Have you?
There are some overzealous homeowners associations. I won't mention any names, like Scottsdale Ranch, that will
Yes.
come out with their maintenance people and pick up your signs. Your signs will disappear. I didn't know where they went. I thought somebody was stealing my signs.
How does
4
Azroy?
weeks in a row, my signs
Let's
keep
have a real talk here though. How does Azroy get away with it? He's always got signs out everywhere, all the time. He's greasing pockets.
They'll do it if the right person.
Yeah. So, and Scottsdale ordinance says so
Sit.
one sign per
Yeah.
turning
Yeah.
direction, turning
Yeah.
movement, and all that.
No
stuff.
balloons and
But
yada
I
yada
get away
yada.
with it pretty much. I use a flag. I like to see a little American flag on mine.
There you go.
It gets attention, and I'm a patriot, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think there's very few people that are going to complain about an American flag.
That's right.
That's a good idea.
So,
Speaking of American flags, I've owned my home since 2003, and the same realtor has put a flag in my yard twice a year on Memorial and Veterans Day.
Really?
Every year, same realtor. And I love it because like you come home that day and there's like flags everywhere, and they're just the little plastic ones, and they stick them like in the corner, usually like where your plant is or whatever. They're just flags, and it's like same realtor every year.
Do they leave like a thing behind that says it was them, or how do you know?
Her card is stapled to the it's like a wood thing with a plastic on the post, and her card is stapled on it. I always think she should go a little further and say like call for a free CMA or something, but
Yeah.
but literally every year, twice a year, we have flags on our and it's like my street and like I think it's the street next to us, so it's like not a lot of homes. She probably does like 100 maybe homes like just in that area, but it's cool because there's
flags everywhere.
Yeah, and I leave them up until they either rip or the wind blows them away. But I think it's cool.
I like it.
I mean,
I like it.
personally know a lot of realtors, so I wouldn't use her. But if you don't know,
But if you
people,
don't, and now
her
she's in
name
your
was
mind.
there twice a year.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, I mean, I've been there what
And you're
15
talking
years,
about
and
her.
I've gotten 30 flagged.
And you're talking about it. That's right.
And I'm
They
sure
don't know
you
her
can get
name,
the flags. Like the flag's probably like this big, but I'm sure you can buy those online for
They're
super cheap.
They're
Like
but back on the subject of the
Yeah.
signs for the open house, until maybe 2 years ago, I was like a lot of agents. I just put out one sign in each corner. And
Yeah.
I never really thought about it. But you ever drive down the street and see just one open house sign?
No.
Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. They're really easy to miss. But put out 3 or 4 in each direction, 5 or 6 in each direction, giving them to turn in that neighborhood. It's not that you're overdoing it. It's just sometimes one sign won't catch someone's attention. But if they see a lot of them, and there's a lot in each direction, not only will they see it, but they'll think it's a big deal. They'll go, oh my goodness, there's a lot of signs. It must be a big deal.
The challenge right now is with the election coming up.
Oh, yeah, it's
There's so
brutal.
much we don't
Very
carry.
Sorry.
No, you just kick their signs down. You just knock those over. Just kidding. Everybody's listening. You know what I mean?
So your open house sign is at 6 feet by 5 feet?
I know, right? The police are going to show you later, sir. They take a look at your tread marks on your shoes.
I'm learning lots of things from you today.
No, I'm with you.
I've been out for 20 years, so I don't want to go to jail. So.
Yeah, check it with the last one.
I saw that.
Like this.
I think, but you're combating it well by having 20 signs if you can. I mean, like you said, at least 12 to 20. It's a good way to beat it. Do you guys put your signs out early in the morning?
Not always. Sometimes, but not
Do you?
always.
You don't? I would.
Yeah.
Why not?
I usually have
Why?
people following me to the, I
I feel like it's
Okay,
already.
if they
But
go
what-
to the house and you're not there yet.
Yeah, but what's the worst that's gonna happen is that if that person shows up a couple hours early and they call you and they're like, hey, where's the open house? That's like literally the worst thing that's gonna happen to you.
I have not had experience doing that.
Okay.
The way to combat that though is if you have a little writer on
I
the
like that,
open
yeah.
house sign,
For the
say
time.
once before,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Then it's fine.
Yeah.
You just have a generic open house sign, I have found it not to be the best practice.
Fair enough. I always put mine out early. I didn't mind if somebody called me and they were pissed off. It was, I'm sorry, I'll go let you in the house right now for a free showing, private showing, you know, and then you got to lead. And it's not a bad lead either because you know the phone numbers, right? Yeah.
I ask people's experience or recommendation. I think the guidelines say not to use your signs on medians. Is that?
Yeah, they can come in.
It says a lot of
Practice
things.
to avoid?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're not supposed to. If you're going to do it, I would do it with rocks. That way they don't fly around everywhere.
Do it with your own
That's
sign.
being half of-
Yeah, because if it falls.
No, because it's open house.
Oh, they've taken your median signs before?
Yeah, they come to these guys now.
Yeah, if you don't have a copy of the sign ordinances for each town, you can get them from Kate. Kate has a copy and she'll email it to you.
They're actually two, you can go to FAR or
Sorry.
Western.
Yep.
That's right there, right now.
Cool. I like this. What else do we got? What other marketing ideas we got? This is good. Sorry, your flag idea is just like stuck in my head.
I was actually trying to look up how much flags are, but I really do love it.
Yeah.
But and it's different. Like, I mean, I'm not all of a sudden another realtor didn't start doing it, so
Right.
really.
It's been around forever. Those signs those flags are about 50 cents. Alhan did it. Is she still over there?
Yeah.
You did flag stuff?
You can find it for 15 cents.
So what? Oh no. So what?
We're waiting for the next holiday.
I was gonna say yeah. So what was your intention? What were you gonna do? And you were just gonna like plant them in people's yards for like a farming thing or what?
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
So hers was a little different though. She didn't plant them, correct, Alhan, you didn't plant them in the yards, but you and your son took them
We
around.
were going to,
Okay,
but
but she had a flyer or a
Oh, right.
direct mail piece, postcard. We didn't have time to mail it, it was last minute, but she put all of the places you could get to see the fireworks displays.
That's awesome.
So all the area fireworks displays,
Oh, yeah, except
with the flag cut in it,
Yeah.
and we're handing them out.
That's
Handing them out.
awesome. And you were gonna go with your kid. If you haven't been here before, I always say leverage your dogs and your kids. If you have them, everybody loves dogs and kids, so leverage them.
And if you don't borrow.
Yeah, borrow a kid, borrow a dog.
so on the flag,
Maybe,
just make sure if you're going to do it, that your info is really well attached to that flag, because there's a realtor lives down the street from me in California, and he's been putting out flags every year for the past, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And all I know is that after the 4th of July, all that's left are Harry James's cards all over my
Oh, no.
And do you know how irritating that is for me? Because I take his cards off all the flags that are on my property and just leave the flags. So just make sure that it's on there really well, and I don't care if there's because that's his thing.
So you don't love Harry James?
No, I've done business with him, and he's a great guy, but it's just, he doesn't even do it anymore. He has like high school kids in the middle of the night, and they're out there for flags.
It's leveraging.
Yeah.
He does, and that's how everybody knows him, Harry with the flags.
But see, it works, right? It
Yeah,
works.
But his cards are.
Well, yeah, just
Neighborhood.
be better.
You can't walk down to the beach right now without Harry's name. Find a way to make your name stick.
It would be strange for me that's putting something in my.
The person who's farming against him.
It's patriotic. That all goes with it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. What else have you, has anybody else done anything that works well? Have you guys, I mean, you guys have been in a little longer than some of them. Have you guys done anything else that works pretty well like that? Fun stuff like that? Online? Yep. Yep. Cool. I'm a big fan in the spring. Another one is sending people seeds and happy to see like your year grow or your family grow or your whatever. That's a cheap one and an easy one. Attach your business card, drop it off.
Especially on Earth Day, maybe.
Oh, there it is. So there we go. So yeah, now I did just want to get into the online stuff because I'm big with online. I think when you guys are marketing, does anybody know the term direct-to-consumer marketing? Does that ring true? We want to be exactly where the consumer is going, and we all know where the consumer goes, right? What's the first person that people look at when they're looking for a home? Their phone, right? Their phone, maybe Google, maybe the internet, maybe their computer. I think it's a huge value if you're going to invest in marketing that is not farming or not to your database to make sure that it's online. somehow, whether it's email marketing, whether it's driving Google people to your website, whether that's, if you want to do Zillow, Realtor.com, Truly, all those things, they're expensive. They're good. I mean, they're just expensive. Do you guys email like weekly?
Clients?
Yeah.
We have drip campaigns, but I think one of the most important emails that we send out, either daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on the client, is listings.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it, a safe search?
Yep.
I don't like to call it that with clients.
Yeah.
But people, I won't say they don't care or don't respond to your campaign emails, but most people don't.
Right.
But everybody loves pictures. Even people who aren't looking right now will still come back to your website if they're getting those pictures and they want to see those homes, and it's the law of familiarity. Once they're used to it, they'll keep going back to the same place. So if you don't do anything, put people on a campaign of looking at homes.
So a couple of things here that I love that he said. Campaigns, that is a marketing email. It is. So I do like weekly emails, like every Friday or whatever. Pick your day and do a weekly email. I'll touch on it in a second. But a campaign is an email. We got a listing once. I got a listing once because the lady called me and said, "You've just been sending me every time a home sells or goes on the market in my neighborhood. Like, thank you so much. Like, you're just on top of it compared to everybody else." I did a reverse search for them. Like one time, I didn't even know who she was. So utilize those campaigns. Anytime you meet somebody at an open house or a buyer, put them on a campaign. Anytime you meet somebody at an open house that's a nosy neighbor, put them on a campaign. But the one thing to think about with the MLS is finicky and it kind of stinks. Hopefully Command might help us not have this problem. You have to make them click the first one. If they don't click the first one, I think the rule is that they'll get none. They'll go to their spam or their trash. And so you really have to find a way to bring them into that first email, because once they hit that view link once, you're good. And then they're always going to get them. But if they don't, I think, was it you, Mary Grace? You're like, "Hey, they're not getting my listings." Yeah, I think they didn't click on your first one, unfortunately. So you really have to have something that's good in the subject line there to bring them back. Second point that you mentioned, pictures and videos, people look at it. And so if you have those weekly emails and it says, "Oh, look at pictures of our favorite backyards," or pictures of our kitchen, videos of our favorite kitchens, those click-through rates will be much, much higher than the ones that aren't. So that's a key. Focus on photos and videos always if you can. I like that. Cool. Marlon, so then there's a couple things that KW's done with just $1 Million Real Estate Agent in the book. Have we all read that book? I hope, maybe if you haven't. Does anybody do the 8x8s, 33 touch, like all the campaigns that they talk about in there? The 33 touch, the 12 direct? Do you guys actually commit to that? Yeah? I think they're powerful.
Yeah.
You're trying to? Yeah.
I have one extra one I added for my own that are more just people that I meet, the neighbors.
Yeah.
They might not be on the 8x8 or the 33 touch, but I can put them on a
monthly search?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty, you guys will have pages for these three things. They should be the last 3 pages. They're simple. They're really good. It's old school. It's good though. Like, I like them. And so I'd be interested to hear if anybody actually committed to any of those and their successes with that.
And that's just autopilot.
Yeah. Well, some of it is. So the 8x8, for instance, I know part of that, if we're looking at that, let's look at that real quick. So our 8x8 response is, I know it's like giving out a thank you note, giving a call, giving a thank you note. Where am I? What page am I supposed to be on there? I am missing it. There I am. Yep. Yeah. So week 1 is dropping off a letter, which a lot of you guys have heard me say. If you meet somebody at an open house, the next thing you should do is drop off a letter, a thank you packet, anything to that person's house. Be a stalker. Look them up. Like, I'm a big fan of that. They tell you you're creepy. Tell them you're a real estate agent. It's your job to know where homes are, right? So, I mean, really, you should know where people live. So I'm a huge fan of dropping off a card week 1 right away. And then, yeah, some of it is kind of autopilot. Command will do it autopilot. So unfortunately, we're not there. We're just going to keep teasing this to you guys. But yeah, so week 2, it says sending a community calendar. Week 3, or market statistics or recipe card or whatever. Week 3, same thing, just a different one. Week 4, checking in, saying, you know, hey, how's everything going? Did you get the stuff I sent you? Week 5, send a free report. Week 6, real estate investments or tips about the house, right? Week 7, magnets, notepads, something of that. And week 8, following up with a call. Obviously, the point here is that you're touching them once a week and you're giving them something different every week. So once you do that, you should be at the top of their mind for the most part. Now, do you have to keep touching them a week? No, but if you're touching them once a month after that, they're probably going to remember who you are. And it's just keep bringing value every time. If you can keep bringing value, you're never going to be annoying people. And then 33 touch, a little bit of the same thing. They kind of bring it into it. That, I think we do have a plan for that with Michael Lewis, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, so I think they have those with automated emails that you can do. Again, if you're supplementing these things with a search, a saved search, you're going to be in front of them all the time without trying. So I'm a big fan of coupling them together. Cool. What questions do we have? Somebody give me some questions. Let's talk. Let's brainstorm. If we don't have questions, we're going to brainstorm some marketing plans that you guys can all start doing.
Let me tell you about when I lived in Vegas, I worked for a builder up there. I was looking at condos at one time, and this one realtor, just with one inquiry, she latched onto me, and I get those view listings all the time.
Yep.
And here I'm not even in the market there anymore, but I get them about once a week, and anytime there's a new listing, and I start to hit unsubscribe, and I just don't, because I still love getting them.
Yeah.
And I know her name, and if I ever knew of somebody that needed to go to Vegas, I'd refer her. So again, it's not annoying to me, maybe because I'm in the industry, but it wasn't obnoxious. I always enjoyed opening and looking at it, and then just very consistent, not in any intrusive way, but I just can't bring myself to get unsubscribed.
Yeah. Frankly, I think it'd be less annoying if you were not in the industry, because people are curious.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to know. People want to know. They want pictures. They want details. A lot of people are jealous of your guys' jobs. Like, that's really what it comes down to. A lot of people want to be real estate agents, and they just aren't. So a lot of people just want to go into everybody's home. So I think it's true, right? Yeah. Yeah. So being on a saved search like that, they think they're cool about it. They think they got the instant access. It's a cool thing. So stick true to that. Nothing else from anybody on this?
Some started a farming project.
Yeah.
We got to continue that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Does anybody want to go? Is anybody going to experiment with Facebook marketing after this? Yeah. Yeah. I know we already talked about that. Have you guys done? You guys haven't done Facebook marketing yet? You have?
Yeah.
What did you do on it?
So, 2 things that I could say we did. One of the things I put in there was, I don't know exactly what I said. I just said, type in your zip code and I'll tell you what's going on in your area.
Yeah.
So then they would type in their zip code, and then I would say average days on market, medium sales price of the house, or the information.
Yep.
So it would get people to click and say something.
Yes.
And then we farm but we put our listings on there to
Uh-huh.
boost the post to Canada and all the cultivates. With
Yep.
a picture of a pool, the first picture. People click. We've gotten up to 18,000 clicks.
Yeah, for $20 or something.
For $20.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And then other people will type other people's names and tag other people's names, and then those
Just
people.
do 100 comments.
Yeah.
Just it just starts rolling. It's like, come on, show them a picture of a pool in Canada.
Yeah, right?
They're like,
It's February. Where's my pool picture?
The
much is
sales
that?
price. I mean, the sales price of that house was
Oh,
$260. Oh yeah, so just shy of 300,000, which was in a lot of people's prices.
Yeah.
That's why.
I love that. Slight off topic, and I'm going to come right back to it. But when you do market to other areas, you will get views that are much higher. So being smart about going to Canada and Chicago and Pacific Northwest and California, that's good tactical. If you want to get views on a video, market it for $1 a day over to somewhere in Asia, and your views are going to skyrocket.
Really?
Absolutely skyrocket. I wouldn't continually do that, but to do that a few times.
Just sounds like fun.
Yeah, No, and I don't know why, but like it'll go crazy. It really will. Like you're gonna be like, wow, you're gonna wake up the next morning and like hundreds of people will view it. I don't know why.
And what's that do for you, though?
Yeah.
Well, right. So coming back to what they were saying, hundreds of people start commenting on it. So the way the algorithms work in Facebook and Instagram, it's all about engagement. And so natural engagement gets your post seen by more people. So if you guys think you have like 700 friends in Facebook or whatever, the people that engage with you are the ones that are seeing your posts. A lot of times, like 500 of those people don't see your stuff unless they've actually engaged. So when you do it to Canada and 100 people are commenting, I would comment back to every single one of them because now 100 comments is 200 comments. But you want to do it immediately. So when you guys are doing like hashtags in Instagram, I would post the picture and then immediately, like I would already save the hashtags, copy and paste them all, and do it as your first comment afterwards. Because Facebook reads that as a comment. It's cheating the system. It'll probably change in like 2 weeks. But
So what is your, can you say, repeat that?
yeah, so like on
Hashtag.
Instagram, like you'll do your picture, right? And then you can put like your caption, and then everybody will like do like 10 spaces, and it takes up your Instagram feed with like knows bunch of space,
Right.
and then there's like 15 hashtags on there, right?
So I see that. I see that people do that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Right. So hashtag everything. If you guys are not hashtagging posts, hashtag the heck out of
That's
them.
your first comment.
But do it as the first comment, right? Because then the algorithm right away, Instagram thinks, oh, cool, this already commented in the first 12 seconds. So now, out of your 700 people that follow you, now like 400 might see the post, right? And so then once somebody's liking it or commenting on it, that algorithm just gets pushed up higher and higher. So that's probably why these ones that you've done to Canada and you've seen wild success with, there's a reason. Because if they comment right away, it just grows, and it's going to grow down here in America. So, love
And
it.
then tell us why we want a high algorithm. Why we want to.
Yeah, the algorithm is just who's going to see it, right? So if you guys get that algorithm better, those are the people. It's just Facebook looks at it as they treat people differently, right? So if you're using it a lot and a lot of people like you, it's kind of what's called brand ambassador now and ambassador marketing. The more that they view your content as being valuable, because you're on their website and people are on the website to look at your content, at least that's what it looks like if you're getting a lot of comments and likes, they want to help you, if you may. So, yeah, getting that algorithm figured out and getting more likes and more comments on it faster will just broaden your reach of your post.
You're talking about Facebook and Instagram.
They're tied together. They're the same company now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so Facebook owns Instagram, and that's why you can tie a lot of it together. So I would recommend doing that. I only use Instagram, but then I would put my stories on Facebook as well because they just automatically tied in. People love stories, by the way. If you guys aren't using stories, use them when you're walking through homes. Put all the homes on stories because then they get to walk through those homes with you. They'll start commenting about it. They'll start telling you how much they love the kitchens and things like that. I've had a couple people that were like, hey, we might buy in 2 years because of that. So put them into the database, right? Make sure you're following up with them. Make sure they're getting content and feed that. It's free leads and you're doing it anyway, so you might as well leverage it. Do as many things as you can with the activities that you are doing. What else? I want some good marketing ideas. Who's got something for me? Nobody? Greg's like, I got something. I just don't want to talk about it.
Well, I've been using Facebook last for announcing open houses.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Yeah.
And then after a while, a bunch of Facebook jail.
How many did you share?
40 groups.
40 groups? Okay. Yeah. Facebook jail. You get out of it without a fine, so that's nice. How long? You're in jail for what, like 2 to 3 days? Yeah.
It was a Facebook jail. Is this real?
Yeah, it is. They will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So 40 groups is probably our number.
And
Okay.
that's how they just try to get it.
Yeah.
Yes. How's that been so far? Has that taken on yet?
A little bit. It says that
There are
interactors.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys boost posts, it typically takes about 24 to 48 hours to really take effect. So you shouldn't judge it too early when you are spending money on marketing those. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that happens to that tomorrow, which is, I guess, when you want it to be big anyway. You want it to be in front of people tomorrow. The groups thing, I never actually did that. I learned that from Nikki over here because she said she would share it to groups. I love it. If you guys are doing an open house, make a post about it and start sharing it into groups. I think it's huge. You guys see great turnout because of it?
And increase
I mean, an increase, that's all you want, right? If you can share it to 5, 6, 30 groups and you can get an extra 5, 6 people, that's huge, huge. So that's one thing that I would practice a lot. I personally didn't do it. I didn't think about it. That's why I love these things. I love when we can all kind of help each other out.
I also posted on LinkedIn, not to get
Yeah.
lots of views, but it also gets people on LinkedIn because of a reminder of like.
Yeah. So there was this guy, I sent the video to Marlon, and the guy made this video. It's just like 17-minute video on KW Connect. I can probably find it for you if you want. He's super dry and it's super boring, but like the content's kind of interesting, so it's still like held my attention sort of. But he made this video. The home was awesome and it had some cool features about it, but he made this video and they went through Facebook and they started asking their friends, specifically ones that lived in the area, and LinkedIn, if they would just take a look at it and they would share it. And I think that's huge because this guy, I don't remember the statistics, but he's like essentially equaled out to 1,000 door knocks because of the way it started getting shared and the people that shared it and saw it. So we ended up getting like thousands of free views. So he didn't have to post it because he was just asking his friends to share it. If you can get other people to share your content, it's huge. And so LinkedIn is something I've not really messed with. I'm not an expert on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert on Facebook either, but I would see about LinkedIn, and if you can get people to share it. It seemed like he had really good success. Maybe that's a demographic thing too, right? So if you're doing like some...
Well, LinkedIn, all you do is once you like it, it now shares it with all of your
Right.
groups.
Yeah.
Or who's in. So Andrew Bloom, he's posting every weekend his open houses.
Yep.
And I see them, and if I like them, then that gets out to my group.
Right.
So it's just exponentially growing by
Same, yeah. Same thing with Twitter right now. So Twitter, when you like a tweet in Twitter, it shows up on the feed. Twitter used to not be the best place to market, but maybe it's worth putting in a link for an open house on Twitter and seeing if...
Do videos.
Yeah, you can put a link for a video. Exactly. So maybe it's worth putting that on Twitter to see if some people will like it locally, and maybe you can drive more traffic that way.
I think a video is going to get more attention than a
Oh,
post.
100%
A picture of your flyer,
Yeah.
PNG of your flyer for the open house. I mean, it's just,
Yep.
people see a video, they want to see what's in it.
That's it. And it's 100%. I talk video all the time. It's the PEN strategy. Again, if you guys don't remember this: property, expertise, neighborhood, niche, and then your story. So I would put as many videos about those 5 things that you can out there. And absolutely, videos it's where it's going right now.
Push those for your open, do like he's doing, push it for your open house. You mentioned Andrew Bloom. I'm learning from him. He does a lot of videos. Of course, he pays for a lot of advertising for those videos, but he pushes his open houses throughout the week, beginning of the week. And from his mouth, he told me they sell probably about 50% of their listings through their open houses. So
absolutely,
a lot of traffic.
I would actually be surprised that number is not higher. And again, for open houses, when you guys have listings, it's not about selling the house right there, because so many people right now, we get a lot of people that come into open houses, they don't have an agent, but it's because they don't want to bother the agent whose daughter Susie is playing in her soccer game at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, right? So they just go by themselves and then they go back and get their agent and sell it. But if that's your listing, absolutely do it. I think the number's probably higher than 50, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. Another good thing about the Facebook advertising and views, I got back to this, I didn't hammer this point home, so I'm sorry, I'm coming back to it. You get a ton of views on video. What you can do in Facebook, though, is retarget people who have viewed your ads for a specific amount of time. I think it's 2 seconds, 5 seconds, and 10 seconds in the whole thing, but don't ever do that. So you can easily retarget your Facebook marketing with people that have previously seen your Facebook marketing. So if they've seen 2 to 5 seconds of your video, you can specifically put to also market to those people in addition to the area you're doing. So now what does that do? It just helps build that brand, because these people that saw you do an open house in McCormick Ranch now can see that you're doing a house in DC Ranch, and then they'll see one in Scottsdale Ranch, and they'll just see you floating all over, and now you're consistently that realtor that's showing up in front of them all the time. So something I would definitely think about. Videos is the way to go, 100%.
I have a thought too, Tony, if you're here. Movement Mortgage, he just showed me a few of their new videos that they have that are very short,
Yes.
very
Yep.
quick, that on all things mortgage. So even if you didn't think of anything to post, maybe it's something, what are some of the topics, Tony, that might be not just the normal run of the mill, but what might be a mortgage topic to do a video on?
I mean, there's just everything, the closing costs, trade stuff, just people knowledgeable about new loan programs. I mean, it's called our mortgage minute video. It's the 3 things that hammers home that subject every time.
But they're quick and it's just quick moving. You're not bored with it.
Yeah,
And it's
agree.
just a minute long, basically. Yeah.
So if you feel you're not creative, let Tommy do the work for you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Cool. I know it was kind of short, but that's really all I got. Did that help anybody? Is there anything that you guys could really take away from that? Yeah, kind of, a little bit. Who's going to do some marketing? Is anybody going to experiment with marketing? Yeah? Good. Cool.
I'll get a lot of people, though, hear what you're saying, but don't really know where to start. So
Yeah.
when it comes to you,
Yeah, I'll do it with you.
you'll help them
I'll do it with
video
you.
it,
Yeah,
hit the button, boost it, and go.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, the most effective marketing plan.
Yes.
It doesn't matter which one of these you get.
Yep.
Just pick one and do it.
Yep. That's exactly right. Same thing with prospecting. It doesn't work unless you do it. It's funny. Yeah.
And I can tell you that Casey will help you set up your 8x8 or help you set up your 33
Yes.
through Michael Lewis, and then just make an appointment with him, and he'll have you set it all up.
Same thing with Casey on Facebook. I know Casey knows Facebook really well too, so he might know better than I do. Just full disclosure, he probably does. But you can't get him, get me, and get both of us, and we'll definitely come together and create something good for you. For sure. Cool.
This video is brought to you by Keller Williams Arizona Realty and KWAZ TV.